Come along on day one of my trip to Chicago. I always have to start my day with a coffee, and we found this place, Stan's Donuts, and picked up an iced coffee and a donut to snack on later. We walked down Michigan Avenue to the river, and today we are starting our day with the architecture boat tour, which came very highly recommended. It's run by the Chicago Architecture Center, and the tour guide was so informative. He told us all about all of these famous buildings. Afterward, we went for a walk to Millennium Park. Unfortunately, the Bean is closed for construction, but the rest of the park was beautiful and we had a lovely afternoon. We walked a little bit along the shore of Lake Michigan and enjoyed the sights there. Then we had worked up an appetite for lunch. We'd walked about 10 miles already, so we had a little sandwich and salad at Miller's Pub. Really cool old school vibes here. I really enjoyed this place. Then it was time for a little culture, so we walked to the Art Institute of Chicago and started out with their miniature collection on the bottom floor, and then we explored the permanent collection as well, including their very famous Sunday in the Park painting, which was beautiful, and we spent quite a bit of time there. And we explored the modern wing as well, which had some really cool pieces. It was a very diverse collection. I really enjoyed this museum a whole lot. After that, we went back to our hotel quickly before heading back out for a lovely dinner at Francesca's. We had some wine and some Italian food. Really a fun first day for our trip. Thank you so much for watching. It's day 2 of my trip to Chicago, starting my day with my coffee run like always, and today I got a latte at Ralph's. Next, I headed over to the store at the Museum of Contemporary Art because I needed a hat and they had the perfect one for me. Next, I went back to the hotel to get a little bit glammed up for a very fun afternoon at the Drake Hotel's Palm Court. We decided to attend their high tea service in the Palm Court today, and this was so special and fun. We got these little cakes and little sandwiches. They were honestly delicious. It was really cool, worth doing. Then in the afternoon, it was time for some real classic Chicago action. We hopped on the train and headed to Wrigley Field to catch a Cubs game. It was my first time at Wrigley Field and I had a blast. These Cubs fans have energy like no other baseball game that I've ever been to. Had to have a hot dog while we were there too. It was an awesome experience at Wrigley. We had a blast today. We grabbed a drink after at a local bar and really had a great time out at the baseball game. After the game, we headed back downtown to get ready for dinner because tonight we are having deep dish pizza. You can't come to Chicago and not have it. So we decided to try Lou Malnati's and it was good. What can I say? I really enjoyed it. Thanks Chicago for another fabulous day. Come along on day 3 of my trip to Chicago. It's museum day today. So we hopped on the train and headed out to the museum campus section of the city. We encountered this little pina colada stand and grabbed a juice to get our day started. And then we headed on into the Field Museum of Natural History. First thing I spotted was Mold-o-Rama, which makes these little plastic dinosaur souvenirs. It was so cute. Then we explored the permanent collection. I really loved the Hall of Gems and also the plants from around the world, but the collection has so much cool stuff, including this T-Rex. And then I grabbed a second Mold-o-Rama because I was obsessed. I mean, look at this Stegosaurus, so fun. Then we headed to the Shed Aquarium, which is right next to the museum, so it's easy to spend a day hitting both spots. I loved this aquarium. They had so many different cool exhibits, including this coral reef with all these sharks. I could have spent a lot of time here. It was beautiful weather today, so we enjoyed a walk along the shore of Lake Michigan, just taking in some more of the sights and also to work up an appetite for dinner because we are headed to Portillo's hot dogs. This was the meal that I was the most excited about on the whole trip. I love a Chicago style hot dog and Portillo's is the place where you go. It is so famous for this. I am so on board with no ketchup on a hot dog. Portillo's Chicago style all the way. And then we ended the night with this amazing cheesecake from our hotel room service. It was to die for. Come along on day 4 of my trip to Chicago. I had to start my day with my second run to Stan's Donuts on my trip. They had some flavors I didn't get to try the first time, so I had to go back. I took in some more of the really impressive local architecture as I wandered my way over over to the Museum of Contemporary Art where I was planning to spend my afternoon. I love a contemporary art museum. I always try to visit one whenever there's one in the city that I'm visiting, and I was really impressed with the collection here. We explored the galleries on the first floor and spent the majority of our time at this special exhibition on the works of Nicole Eisenman. I am definitely a new fan of this painter. I really loved all of her pieces here. It felt so modern and fresh and really relevant to now. We finished our visit with lunch at Marisol, the restaurant in the museum, which was lovely. I ordered their avocado latke and it was a delicious lunch and left us enough time to pop into the gift shop where I got a little bit of Miffy merch. Last stop of the day was back to the historic Drake Hotel where we've been staying during our trip to get a little bit of footage of this beautiful lobby before we headed out to the airport. I barely scratched the surface of this amazing city and I can't wait to come back again.